So like me, we heard so many things so that we are not Igbos. So I said, no. But what I did, I said, no. I said, you can't tell me that I'm not an Igbo person. No, I'm from Delta. But from my culture, from the way I speak, from the way I see things, 98% typical an Igbo person. And the person you are, the place you are telling me I come from, we have only, our similarity is just 2%. How can I take that? No, it's not possible. My name is exposing me. My culture is exposing me.
Your language.
Yes, it's what the language I speak. My culture is exposing everything. And you are still telling me the contrary. I said, no, I can't accept that.
And we are telling you that it's a categorical no that we are not going to the southeast. We are good here in the south-south. We are very good in the south-south. Only if we get in the southeast, we will protest. We will occupy everywhere to tell.
In the famous book, Among Igbos of Southern Nigeria by G.T. Basden, page 28, he had this to say about the territory of the Igbo country. The limits of the Igbo country have now been approximately defined, and the territory apportioned to its districts. A network of government stations has been established, and trading and missionary interests show evidence of vigorous prosperity. The Igbos are distributed over the greater part of the central province of the protectorate and number about 4 million. That is probably half the total population of southern Nigeria. According to this document, he believes, GTS Basden believes that Igbos occupied over half the entire population of southern Nigeria. And what we mean southern Nigeria, it includes and embraces the present day southwestern Nigeria, which is all of the Yoruba speaking people, the Beninese, and the place you now call Middle Belt. Because what you now call Middle Belt, half of which have been zoned to the north by region, were all considered southern Nigeria. Take a listen to this particular video documentary and hear what this man has to say about the territory called Igbo territory and what their population represented as it was in the beginning. Just take a listen.
British wanted the North to remain monolithic for some reason. They wanted it because they wanted to hand over power to the North. And they used Middle Belters to beef up the population of the North before independence. And though before independence, if you look at the population, go back to history, all these things are there, you can Google and see. The southeast and Bamenda had the highest population, followed by the southwest and the north, that is including the Middle Belt, had the third population in terms of numerical strength. However, the British wanted to hand over to the north and therefore denied the Middle Belters a region for themselves. Though after independence, the southern minorities were given Midwestern region for also political consideration, which now we know as used just to whittle down the strength of the southwest.
Now it is very clear. Let us also listen to one of our Ikwere brothers. Even if he remains controversial, he has been consistent with this truth that Igbos are among the people who occupy a greater population of the present-day Rivers State. He also upholds the notion, just like everyone else, that the core states created by General Yakubu Gowon in 1967 was to reduce the strength numerically of the Igbo people. He believes that the Ikweres, the Eches, the Ndonis, the Ebeyes, the Ahodas, the Eleles, and all other people you can mention that speak Igbo language, even the Opobos, are Igbo people. Hear what our brother Asari Dokubo had to say. This is an old video, but take a listen to it.
In 1914, Nigeria was created by one sick man called Lord Lugard. And there is nobody called a Nigerian. If you go to Lagos and there's somebody in the bus And they ask, how many people are in the bus? They say 5 persons and 1 Gambari. Who is a Gambari? Is he not supposed to be a Nigerian? If you go there, you go to the north, they say Nyamiri. You go there, Berebe Banzani. If they are rioting in Kano, they will not look for Ghanaians to kill. They will look for Igbos, Yorubas, and Ijaws to kill. The same is everywhere. So where is the Nigeria we are talking about? Until the issues of the Niger Delta and the people who are dispossessed of their sovereignty is solved, there will be no peace. And people like us will not agree. Because the Bible says, and I want to quote, how can I sing the Lord God's song in a strange land? How can I, an Ijaw man, be called a Nigerian and be made to sing a Nigerian national anthem when I am not a Nigerian? I will live and die an Ijaw man. I will never become a Nigerian or a River State man. I am not. This battle stand called River State, why was it created? To cause confusion. When the Igbos rose against the Nigerian oppressive state, in order to cause confusion between we and our brothers, the Igbos, Ojukwu Gowon deceitfully created what he called River State, another battle stand, another homeland for dispossessed people.
Very good. Now, you hear him say things like Igbo people in River State. And then recently, one of our Ikwere brothers, Livingstone Weche, also had this to say. Take a listen to him again.
Some Igbos are the largest black stock on earth. You can't challenge that fact. Because, okay, today it's on record that the largest slave port was the Calabar port. And the highest number of slaves that were transported to the rest of the world were Igbos. So Igbos are in various countries in Brazil, where the Yorubas are trying to contend with them over dominance of that country. An Igbo man is president of Gabon, is not in dispute. You have them in Equatorial Guinea, Barbados, Cuba, and so on. So the unification project is key to me, so that wherever we find ourselves, we extend our hands across the bridge and hold each other's hands in order to drive our development in this end time.
And now to crown it all, our brother, Senator Azota Mbata, was elected the President General of Ohaneze Igbo. This underscores and cements the presence of Igbo-speaking people in River State, present-day River State, which is one of the core states that General Yakubu Gowon created to reduce the numerical strength of Igbo people during the Nigerian Civil War. Now, there are Igbo-speaking people in the Midwest. Now, these Igbo-speaking people in the Midwest cut across Delta State and Edo State. That is the former Midwestern states. That is why today you have Igbo-speaking people in Edo State, Igbo-speaking people in Delta State, and Igbo-speaking people in Cross River State. All these are Igbo people considered in this book I referenced, written by the European anthropologist G.T. Basden, who upheld that the population of Igbo people as at 1900 was over 4 million, which in his estimation was more than half the population of the entire southern Nigeria. Now, you will agree with me that today, despite the state creation attempts by General Yakubu Gowon, which reduced the numerical strength and population of the Igbo people, these Igbo-speaking people that are today in 9 local government areas in Delta State, about 3 local government areas in Edo State, the ones in River State, the ones in Cross River State, all identify themselves as Igbo people. The Oba, Ebema, and Doni local government area in River State, the same way you also have Ebema in Imo State. They are just divided by the state creation boundaries. Where these states, Delta State, Cross River State, and Edo State, are in South Nigeria, whatever that means, because geographically speaking, there shouldn't be anything like South. There is no geopolitical zone that is known as South, but it exists anyway in Nigeria because of what General Yakubu Gowon intended to achieve with its core states creation. Now, the creation of these states and the removal of history from the curriculum, from the syllabus of secondary schools in Nigeria has dealt a very heavy blow to young people who wish to understand and appreciate the history of the Igbo-speaking people. With the restoration of this history into the school curriculum, I propose that it is properly taught. That the history tailored to reduce or water down the influence and popularity and strength or glory or heritage of the Igbo people should be corrected. The true history of the Igbo-speaking people should be taught in schools. There are Igbo-speaking people in over 9 states in the Federal Republic of Nigeria today, but it is only 7 that are registered as members of Ohaneze Ndi Igbo. Many of these states have been removed from their kith and kin. For instance, states like Edo State should be included among their Igbo brothers, since we have majority of Igbo-speaking people in the Banki area. During state creation, this could have been corrected if the people who created these states had understanding of the importance of history. Places like Ibanke would never have been part of present-day Edo State, or even what you call South Nigeria, whatever that means again. So, the Igbo-speaking people occupied more than half the population of southern Nigeria, as it were, before the regions were now balkanized into Midwestern region, Southwestern region, Southeastern region, South region. Now, the creation of Midwestern region again was also political to reduce the stretch and strength. Imagine that the Igbo-speaking people of the present-day Delta State were included among the Southwestern region. Now, this is why it is important that during government appointments, square pegs are put in square holes, round pegs in round holes. If square pegs were put in square holes, I don't think anyone who understands history will mix Igbo-speaking people of Delta States, Igbo-speaking people of Edo States with the Southwestern region. The population of the Igbo-speaking people continue to soar because the Igbo man is an economic, a business nomad who is not afraid to move from place to place. Today you find Igbo-speaking people in present-day Lagos State occupying more than 40 to 50% of the population. Yes, the present population of Lagos State that stands around 20 million people has more than 10 million Igbo-speaking people living there. So the population of the Igbo-speaking people of Nigeria as it stood in 1900 still continues to stand. Considering this, is it not right, is it not wise politically that we Igbo people unite? Politics is about numerics. It is about number. It is a game of number. The higher your number, the higher your political strength and relevance. The voting strength of the Igbo-speaking people must be converted to results. Look at the present political setup of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Where does it place the Igbo man? The president is from Southwest. The vice president is a northerner. The president of the Senate is from Cross River State. And he boldly denies being Igbo. What is the position? What is the stake of the Igbo-speaking people considering our population? This will teach you why it is a pain to these people when they see Igbo people uniting. It remains a pain to them to see the Igbo man uniting with his fellow Igbo men. We must all come together to drive the unity of Igbo speaking people, because in unity lies our great strength. Thank you for watching today's broadcast. Thank you for following Enu and the Potterer Forum. Kindly subscribe to our channel and share our videos to your audience. If you want to know where the Igbo speaking people truly occupy, check out this video I posted a long time ago. You may find it very interesting about the Igbo speaking people and why they left Benin.